Hi everyone, Sonia here today. I'm going to be showing you today a little tutorial that I've kind of made, or I did see it on YouTube somewhere a long time ago. I can't remember where. And I thought I would show how to do it. Now, if you're wondering what these are my faux leather paper, which I use to make, I've made leather envelopes with them, which is kind of really cool. And I'm actually making myself a new journal, and I wanted it to have a leather look cover, and it's a watercolor journal, so I had to get the watercolor paper and make my own journal. So yeah, for that I wanted a leather look, so I decided to go back to this, which I did a little while ago. So basically what it is these are cardstock papers that you use for scrapbooking. They're not the paper, but the actual thicker cardstock, and these were actually coloured this brownie colour on the front and the back, so both sides were the same colour. But I have used before just cardstock that has like a print on one side and the back of it is white, so you can use that as well. Just don't use the paper for scrapbooking, make sure it's actual thick cardstock. So these are the 12 by 12 sizes, but of course you can do it any size you want. Now, I just wanted to show you these first because this is the finished product. Now, these are still wet. I just finished these, and as you can see, my fingers are still dirty from making them. So I thought I might as well do my tutorial straight away because I really don't want to have to wash my hands over and over and over again over the next few days. So I just want to get this all out the way for you guys. So this is what they will end up like, and these will dry. I'm not sure how long, I can't remember how long they'll dry. I mean, it's winter over here, it's 14 degrees, it's raining, it's dark, it's cloudy outside, it's horrible. So these are probably going to take like a whole 2 days probably to dry. But when they are dry, none of this stuff will come off on your hands and it will be lovely. So I just wanted to show you this first piece here. I'll give you a close-up. This one has a wrinkled look, like an antique-y, lovely leather look to it. And then this one, I did two pieces because I need two pieces. This one I scrunched a little more, as you can see. It's got a few more creases in it, so just scrunch it as much as your desired effect, and I'll show you how to do that right now. So I'll just put these two pieces aside to dry. Now, so here I've got some cardstock and I've got a tea towel underneath because it's going to get a bit wet in a minute. So this is the cardstock I was talking about. This is a different colour. I'm using a red this time. You can use any colour you want. Say you want a brown leather look journal. I would suggest using brown cardstock. But it doesn't really matter what cardstock you have because you're going to end up putting on shoe polish. So depending on what colour shoe polish you're going to use, that's going to what it's going to end up the final colour. But in saying that, I have used dark brown cardstock before and used this same shoe polish. This is called dark tan, but it really does have a reddish tone to it, as you can see on my fingers. Now on the dark chocolate brown cardstock, it turned out a really nice dark brown, and then as you saw in the more tanner colour, it's turned out this more reddy brown. So there will be slight differences in depending on what cardstock you use. Okay, so let's begin. First of all, what you're going to need is glycerine. And you can use any brand you want. This is, you get it from the chemist, maybe the supermarket. This one here was from Priceline. And it's just for chapped skin, putting on your lips, or, you know, if you've got dry skin, that sort of thing. And the reason why you use this is, I believe, if I remember correctly, it does something to the fibres inside the paper, so that when you wet the paper, it doesn't all fall apart, if that makes sense. So what you have to do is you get glycerine, you're going to need a spray bottle and some water. And what I do is I probably use, you don't need much water at all. This is like way much already. You probably need 1 part glycerine to about, I don't know, about 4 parts water. And you don't need much of this at all, like just, you know, probably like a cupful. And this is, how big is this bottle? This is a 100ml bottle. So probably like a cupful and about this much water. I've already been using this spray bottle, so I probably even had a little bit more water than this. And this is probably like a, I don't know, 500ml water bottle. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is just give it a shake once you've mixed that up, and you're going to completely spray the paper so it's all wet. Turn it over and then completely spray the other side like this. And my whole table's getting wet. Yes, you're going to get wet and dirty and mucky. So do that. Don't saturate it to the point where the water's like just rolling off in all directions. You can have like little puddles of water, that's fine, but don't completely go crazy with it. Leave that for about a minute or two just to let it soak in, and you will feel as the time ticks by that your paper will start to get floppy. When it starts to get that floppy kind of feeling, that's when you want to go to the next stage. But you really do have to let that glycerine and water do its work and sink into the fibres at the moment. I'm just going to dry my table a bit while we're waiting. So what else could you make out of these? You could make, and I was thinking of doing this, you could make pretty like leather look flowers. Like paper flowers, and they will feel and look like leather. That'd be pretty cool. Like I said, I make journal covers out of these. I've made envelopes. You could make like nice leather tags for your scrapbooking or journals. Anything that you'd use a scrap bit of leather for, really. Not sure how they would go if you sewed them. I suppose people do sew paper, so you could, you know, once they're dry, you could get them under the sewing machine, and I might actually try that, and that will really make it look even more like leather if you sewed it and put the paper under the machine, and that would be like your seams and things. That would be really cool, so I might give that a go. So I'm not sure if that's been a minute or two yet. I might just spray this side again. It's not getting quite floppy enough. It is getting floppy, but just give it another minute. It is a bit of a waiting game, I'm afraid. So you have to listen to me babble on. Okay, so you could use, like I said, this is dark tan shoe polish. You could use red. I really want to get like a light tan. I think that'd be really nice as a journal cover. Like I said, you could get red. You could black, of course, for a black journal. I'm sure, you know, shoe polish comes in all sorts of colours. White, you could do like a white leather look. So yeah, have a play around with different colours. But this is just a can that I've had at home, probably sitting here for years and years. We just bought this for my daughter's school shoes, basically, which she hardly ever shines. But, you know, just about everyone has an old shoe polish container in their cupboard somewhere. So that's going to be long enough now. So what we do is we're going to scrunch it. Try to be gentle, but at the same time you're applying pressure and you're scrunching as hard as you can now. So really giving that a good scrunch. Then you're going to very, very gently, got to have a gentle touch with this. Very gently you're going to open it up again. And then you can see the beautiful scrunch work. Okay. So then I'm going to scrunch again because I want it a little bit scrunchier. So really giving that a good hard scrunch, as hard as I can now. And then opening that back up. And then I'm going to have a look at it. Now if you be gentle enough with your scrunching and your opening, the paper should not really have any holes in it. What it probably will have is where the colour has come off. I don't know if you can see that, but there's little bits of white now there, and that's where the top colour has come off the paper. That doesn't matter though, because that's all going to be covered up in the shoe polish. But as you can see, there's no holes or rips because I've been really gentle with it. So you can flatten that out. Now, if you're happy with that look, you can go, right, I love the look of that scrunching, that would do me. Or you could give it another burst just to get that glycerine in there. And I'm not sure if it helps with the final product. It's just what I was told to do, is put glycerine with it because of the paper fibres. So yeah, if you do it a second time, just leave that for another minute. And we might not leave it for a whole minute, but we'll just give it a few seconds for the sake of this video. Okay, so just scrunch it again. If you scrunch it when it's too dry, it's definitely going to rip and make holes, and the last thing you want is holes in it. It's not so bad if you're going to make little tags and things out of it, because you can work around those holes. But if you're going to make a journal cover, the last thing you want is huge holes in your paper. Okay, now see with that second scrunch, I don't know if you can see there, but I've got a tiny little hole there. But I'm not too fussed, because what I do is I will get the dryer and I'll dry my paper, and as I'm drying it, I'll just get a bit of craft glue, like hobby craft glue, paper glue, and I'll just stick it in those holes just to reinforce it so they don't get any bigger. So that's pretty good, and I quite like the scrunchiness look of that. So that is the first task you've got to do, and now you've got to put this aside and let it dry, or get your heat gun onto it. It's up to you. So I'll put that aside, and I will do what the cooks do, and here's one I made previously. So this is more of a chocolate, kind of light chocolate brown one I did, and this one has dried. I got the heat gun on it. As you can see, it's got a lot of white pit marks in it, but that's okay. So this is the fun mucky bit. So what I'll do is I'll change my paper. Make sure you put some paper down, something you don't mind getting shoe polish on. Or you might want to do this outside, because shoe polish, as you know, is pretty stinky, but I can't video outside. So just get a cloth, you know, just pretend you're going to, try to get this can open now. Every time I try to open it, it gets stuck. Just, might have to get my, oh, there we go. I've only got a tiny little bit left, as you can see. So I might just do a corner of this piece just to show you what to do. So as you can see, I've got my cloth and I've already been using it with the shoe polish. So just get your finger in there, one finger or two fingers, whatever you like this. And what you want to do is just get quite a big sort of blob. I don't know if you can see that, but a quite big blob of shoe polish on there. And what you want to do is you want to work softly to start with, and you just want to get that shoe polish onto the paper, and you're working softly because your paper is very dry. And if you go hard with your finger at this stage, you'll end up ripping your paper up. So be very gentle. And if any of the coloured paper rips up from the white underneath, it doesn't matter, just go over the top of it. So I've got a slight hole there, so I think I would normally put a bit of glue there before I do this. So as you can see, working very softly. I'll just do this section here so you can see. Right, and then once you've got that over the whole piece, so just very roughly and softly, once that sinks in a little bit, then you can go back with more. So you're using quite generous, I don't know, can you see that? It's quite dark, isn't it? But you're using quite a generous blob of it. And then you're going to work in circles. You're going to work in circles with your finger, and now you can press down hard. Because if you've ever used shoe polish before, you know that it's quite kind of, it's almost like, I don't know, I want to say like a lanolin, or it's kind of, when it dries, it's kind of waxy. It's soft and waxy. So you want to work in circles. But you don't want to overwork it either, because you will, again, you will rip your paper. So you can press hard at this stage, but don't overwork it to the point where you've been over it a billion times. Hope this is all making sense. So as you can see there, and I find that working in circles is the best way to get into all the nooks and crannies and all the cracks and creases. So there we go. And that's all there is to it. So you can see here, this is all now covered in the shoe polish. Now you'll probably think, oh my God, that is all wet and greasy. It's, you know, it's tacky to touch. It's kind of sticky. But when you let it dry, this will feel, it won't feel tacky and sticky anymore. It will feel beautiful like leather. It'll have a waxy tight feel. It will feel smooth and very much like leather. And I believe that's because of what the shoe polish actually has in it. So there you go. That's my little tutorial. I never do the back. You can do the back if you want. I've never actually done the back of them before. I don't know how the paper would hold up to having both layers done. If you do the back, I suggest you let the front dry first before you attempt to do the back. Because again, you know, you got to remember, you're not working with a shoe, you're working with paper. So just be, you know, very gentle with it. And that's about all there is to it, to making leather look paper. And I hope you like this tutorial. Oh, and I do suggest, if you don't if you don't want shoe polish fingers, that you put a pair of gloves on. I don't have a pair of gloves. Well, I probably do outside in the shed, but I ain't going outside today. So, yeah, maybe wear gloves. And that's all there is to it. So if you like this tutorial, please subscribe and leave me a comment if you've done this before, or if you're thinking of doing it, or if you've got any suggestions. And I do try to reply to all the comments. And yeah, please subscribe. Like I said, have a great day, and make yourself some faux leather. Bye.